Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to say Barak Atah, Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Ba'asham Rukwah HaKadosh. I'd also like to say double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, and salutations to the sincere Aki. I'm pushing this truth in all due diligence and sincerity. This is a channel I highly recommend. It's a financial news channel. The content submitter goes by the name of Jeremiah Babe. I highly recommend you subscribe to his channel, Jeremiah Babe. As you can see, the name of the channel here. He does daily updates in regards to the state of the economy. His channel is extremely popular. I watch him and Boom Bear Bust as well. Bull space Boom and then space Bear Bear space Bust. They're two good financial news channels that keep you up to date with daily updates in regards to what's happening across the face of the globe. In this particular sit down, I'm just gonna play a bit of this video, highlight three key scriptures, and hey man, it's down to you to watch the rest of this. But hey, man, Esau Edom is purposely destroying this financial system. They're not trying to save the financial system. They're destroying it on purpose so that they can get rid of this fiat system and implement a new digital dollar system, man. You know, if you know anything about what they're doing with the cryptos, XRP is one of the most prevalent digital systems, because ultimately that's going to be one of the infrastructure tools they use to build the mark of the beast blockchain, man. You know, that's why its price is skyrocketing right now, man. And ultimately, it's going to allow for instantaneous payment. Right now, within the banking system, you have a setup known as the SWIFT setup payment system. With SWIFT, I forget what the acronym stand for, but pretty much if you make a payment today from the UK to the US, it takes on average about 2 to 3 days for the funds to reach. You know, like when you're within the same country, in the UK here, we have faster payments where I can make a payment to someone based in New York and it's instantaneous. Literally the next second they got the money in their account. When you do international payments via the SWIFT setup, it's faster than sending a check in the post or whatever, but it takes about 2 to 3 days because it has to go through clearances. It has to be transferred, translated from pounds to dollars. It's got to go through sometimes intermediary banks as well, who take their cut and as a fee, and then, you know, ensure that the digital money you send gets there safely. So, you know, it's even longer when you send money to countries that are not part of NATO or the EU or America. You know, if you was to send money to so-called Africa or to the Asiatic regions of the world, you could be waiting up to a week. With the XRP blockchain system, everything is instantaneous. So someone could be in America, in LA, and someone could be in China, opposite sides of the world, and you send money and instantaneously it's there. You know, that's the mark of the beast blockchain system, man, that they're gonna use, man, to as part of this mark of the beast system that we're entering into right now. But what this guy's getting into is pretty much the demise of this current system, man, because the elites have it in their mind that they're going to be able to crash this system, emerge from the ashes with the new system. But that's when Yahushua is going to crush them, man, in the midst of them amassing all of these riches, in the midst of them trying to establish their new system. So without further ado, let's play this video and get these scriptures in.
It's Wednesday, November 10th, 2021. Let me start this video out today by saying this. We got very, very serious problems, and we've got bigger problems ahead. I was talking to a very, very good friend of mine today, Matt, and he said, this is what happens when you flood the globe with digital dollars. We are beginning now to see the repercussions from all this money printing, the quantitative easing, the 0% interest rates, the artificial injections. As I said in the past, ladies and gentlemen, there's a price to pay for all this easy money. And I'm not here to scare people. I don't need to scare people. People are getting scared right now because if they went to the grocery store today, they're getting scared. If they went to go look at an apartment today and saw the rent for that apartment, they're getting scared. If they went to go shop for a used vehicle today, they're getting scared. If they filled up their car today, they're getting scared because they are getting priced out of this economy. Markets should have...
Yeah, because when you increase the printing of money and then increase the velocity of money. So the printing of money is one thing. If everyone just, for example, got 50,000 into their savings accounts today across the entire nation, let's say London has a population of about 11 million people. If everyone just got a London waiting allowance of 50k into their account, that wouldn't cause inflation, because all that is people having more money at their disposal, so they have more money to fall back on. What causes inflation is a duality of increasing money supply and increasing duality. So velocity, sorry. So let's say, for example, everyone gets that 50k, and then Niketown has 100 Jordans, and everyone rushes into some exclusive Jordans. I don't buy those shits, but like, let's say they have some exclusive Jordans for like $1,000 each. Everyone runs up into Niketown, and just because they got money to burn now, they just throw money at Niketown saying, yeah, we want your 100 exclusives. Now what happens is, because there's more money than chasing goods, Niketown might sell those 100, but then for people that never got to make the initial sale, what they will do is they might bring more of them out, but then rather than being 100, they might increase the price to 300. That is inflation, because you have so much money velocity in the system, so much money chasing a set amount of goods, that in order for the company to actually reap the benefits of that, they got to then increase their prices. Because don't forget, the more velocity in the system, the more Nike would then have to pay their suppliers and their workers to create the shoe. They're going to have to increase wages so that their workers can survive, and that's what increases inflation, because it has a knock-on effect. You buy from the retailer buys from their supplier, the supplier has to pay their workers, etc., etc. Their workers take the money, they inject it into the system, and you have increased velocity and increased money supply. And over 30% of the world's US dollars has been printed within the last couple of years, within the last 2 years. That is going to cause catastrophic inflation real sooner than later, man. And with the world reserve currency being the dollar, soon to be the MOTB, man, America's going to sink. And a lot of these other countries that depend on America for trade are going to sink also. This is Jeremiah 51:9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto the heavens, and is lifted up even to the skies. And you see, America is ultimately going to get that judgment, man. That nuclear Armageddon, But right now, what you're seeing is a lot of people are forsaking America, forsaking her allies. That's why Britain, through this Brexit, where it put sanctions on itself, is suffering also, man, financially. And you got the Bank of England talking about raising interest rates, which will double the price of pretty much everything that's influenced by the Bank of England base rate. Of course, savings accounts will give you slightly higher interest rates. So rather than paying you a pathetic 0.25%, you might actually get 2% of your interest or whatever. But ultimately speaking, if for the peons out there that got mortgages that they thought they were going to be paying into 2050, their payment might go from 600 a month to 1,200, depending on what the rate that gets set is. Everything's going to go up in price, man. Lending is going to become more difficult to get if the price of the Bank of England rate is higher, is put higher, because then the banks got to raise their interest rates to make a cut off before they recoup for the Bank of England's interest, man. So everything is gonna go up in price, man, and that is the will of the elites, to crash the society, to price everyone out of the system, man. So that ultimately, when they roll in that digital currency as the saving grace, everyone's gonna bow to it, man. And Revelations, the 13th chapter, is gonna be a real thing, because in order to transact, man, you're gonna have to jump off this fiat system and either get down with the mark of the beast or have faith in the Lord. And that's where our faith is going to be tested, man. Yeah, gold, silver and all of that is a good thing to have, but that only will take you so far, man. Ultimately, what's going to deliver us is faith in Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bashim, Kadash. Because guess what? Hey, man, when Yahweh Shai turned that water into wine, when he multiplied the loaves of the fishes the loaves of bread and the fishes, that wasn't to do with how much monetary prowess he had. The Lord was described as a vagabond, man. A man without a permanent home, and he was able to feed thousands through miracles, man, through his through his faith, ultimately, man, and his Father, man. And that's the kind of faith that the Lord requires of us, because this place is gone, man. It's completely gone. It's over.
absolutely crashed today on the news of this inflation. I truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm not here to scare you. I'm doing the best that I can to wake you up, but I truly do believe that we are going to be heading into a very, very serious depression here in the United States of America. Dow drops 240 points, NASDAQ falls 1.7% after hot inflation data drives bond yield spike. Again, I think these markets should have sold off. I think we should have really seen these markets down 4,000 points today on the.
Now, you have in the UK here this thing called the FTSE 100, which is pretty much an index of the performance of the top 100 companies in the UK. So you'll have companies like JD Sports, Lloyds Bank, Barclays, HSBC, the British branch. Basically, the FTSE 100 is a measurement of how well the top 100 countries are, 100 companies are performing. And then you have other indexes around the FTSE. You have the FTSE 350, which is as the name suggests, the top 350 companies, man, in the UK. Now, I'll give you a fact. Out of the top 350 companies, about half of them are owned by foreigners, whether that be like, Russian investors or Germans, or like Mercedes-Benz, etc. All of these, BMW, Audi, all of these different companies, man. A lot of these companies, some of the supermarkets also are owned by foreigners, man. Germans, Italians are up in there for certain businesses as well. Pretty much half of the companies half of Britain's 350 largest companies are owned by foreigners, man, here in the UK. With this Brexit happening, a lot of those workers that would have come from their native country to work for their the company that they identify with it in their country, but in the UK have now left, and a lot of those companies are now pretty much taking their services back home or elsewhere, man, into France and into a lot of these other different nations. So as a result of that, what's happening, man? This country's sinking. America imports everything, and China controls the majority of America's stock, not only the food and clothing, but even the medicine. I read an article and watched it on YouTube also, and I believe one of Jeremiah's videos, or it might have been one of the other channels, but nonetheless, 80% of America's pharmaceutical industry is funded by China, man. A lot of 80% of America's pharmaceuticals come from China, and ultimately America's at odds with China right now, man. There's no workers. About 30% of America's workforce is just not working right now. Over 100 million working age adults. Second, and as a result of that, and you've got the shipping crisis also, which is purposeful. It's actually been done on purpose, man, by these elites, because they're trying to get everyone jabbed up, man. 2 Ezra, the 6th chapter, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The supermarkets having no food, man, no essentials, no maxi pads for the women, no bread, no baby milk. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Because all of the freight is in the ships that can't dock. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid. And out of desperation, let's look at this. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, because iniquity shall abound, so the love of many shall wax cold, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told you shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. But pretty much, man, it's going to be an extremely dark time, man. The transition from this fiat system into the MOTB is going to cause a great manic depression, man, and it's going to be a lot of death, man. And if you ain't got the Lord with you, man, in these days that we're heading into, man, you are fucked. Hey, the only way out of this is through Yahweh Bashim, Hawashai, Bashim, Mukakadash. We're about to see some great judgment. You thought the corona was bad, even though that was something light. There's more plagues and more pestilences coming. And there's going to be famines in the land, man. There's going to be death. People's hearts feeling for fear and evil. Only in evil, as equal the 7th chapter, has come. It is come.
The news we received with this inflation data. So you know that these markets are very, very manipulated. I'm sure the Fed was buying everything it could today to keep it propped up, held up. Tomorrow will be different. I'm curious. Comment down below. What do you think? What are your expectations in these markets tomorrow? Do they bounce back, or do we see more pain in the markets tomorrow? This is getting harder and harder to cover up, ladies and gentlemen, because every day people are beginning to feel the pain. They're seeing the prices of everything going up. U.S. consumer prices jumped 6.2% in October, the biggest inflation surge in more than 30 years. And it's soaring at the fastest rate in 40 years.
Yep. Hey, it's over, man. It's over. It's over. Revelations, the 13th chapter. And straight to the point, the 16th verse. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. A good reminder of what that's like is the movie In Time with Justin Timberlake. I watched that recently and I highly recommend it. It's a good quick watch, but it gives you a sort of vibe of what things are going to be like under that Mark of the Beast MOTB system, man. And trust me, it ain't nothing nice. And that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Amen. That Mark of the Beast technology is going to be the new way of transacting, man. And if you ain't down with the get down, then ultimately speaking, you better be down with the Lord, because the only way we're going to make it out of here is through Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Bashim, Kadash. Only the Lord is going to be able to deliver us from what's about to before the face of the planet Earth, man. A lot of death is about to come, man. A lot of judgment is on its way. And only through the Lord will we be able to overcome and trump our enemies, man. Judgment. Dark times are on the way. Shalom.
And ladies and gentlemen, I don't see it slowing down. Do you? The consumer price index surged 6.2% from a year ago in October, the most since December 1990. Energy, shelter, and vehicle costs led the way. These increases have wiped out wage increases. You know, everybody was happy to get $15. We keep hearing that everything is great because people are making more money than ever. In reality, they're making a lot less money. In fact, they're making probably less money that they ever have made. And we are seeing wages eaten alive by this inflation. People are making less money than they were in the 1970s, ladies and gentlemen, when you account for inflation. The dollar is getting eaten up, and it's going to continue to get eaten up until we see interest rates rise, and that's coming. We'll talk about that in a minute.